So, you can close your eyes, and first thing that we're going to do with our closed eyes is just turn up the volume on awareness. And what that means practically is I want to be intentionally aware on purpose. I want to consciously choose what I'm going to be doing with my awareness. And the simplest, most effective way to do that is to just pay attention to your breathing. What does it feel like to breathe? And anytime my mind goes away from feeling, consciously focusing on what I'm directing it to, we don't have to make a big fuss over it. We just bring it back again and again and again to sensation. And you might notice if you're paying attention to your breath that you can actually feel your breath in lots of different parts of your body. You can feel your breath, obviously, in your nostrils as the air is coming down your throat. You can feel the breath in your lungs. You can feel the breath in your belly. They're the most obvious ones. But if you really get a bit more subtle and curious, which will help, check to see if you can actually feel the subtle movement that your breath creates in your body, in your arms, in your legs, in your groin, in your hands, and in your feet. So we're just exploring. Bringing the mind back again and again so that I'm choosing intentionally to be aware that I'm aware, and I'm choosing intentionally to focus that into my body. And I'm choosing to feel through my body and see how far can I notice the physical sensation of breathing permeating into those different parts of my body. And something we can do to help, which will also help regulate our nervous system, is continue to be aware of the sensation of the breath. But I also want you to increase the depth and decrease the speed of your breathing as much as you can without it becoming uncomfortable or stressful for you. So nice, deep, slow belly breaths. Notice what it feels like to breathe deeply into your body. Follow that sensation as the air comes down, filling up the chest, pressing into the belly, opening up your torso, and slowly, if you can make that out breath longer than the in breath, slowly releasing that air from the belly, solar plexus, and then upper chest. I'm just going to keep that deep, slow breathing with a long out breath, with full awareness of the sensations for a minute. If you notice any tension in your body, we don't have to worry about it or force it or try and get rid of it, but just have that same curiosity go into any of the tension or stress or discomfort. And it's like an invitation that it's welcome. It's like letting your body know it's okay to let go just for now. And then we're just trusting whatever happens and coming back, focusing on the deep, slow breathing, long out breath, saturating our inner body with our awareness on purpose and coming back to it again and again. And then I want you to imagine in your mind's eye the image from something high, high above you, from something higher than you can actually see, starts to pour down liquid energy with a golden color. And as it's coming down, it's pouring down slowly and it starts to enter into the tip of your head. And this is just pure energy, benevolent, loving energy. And it's here to awaken and empower you in what's most important to you. And imagine it pouring in, seeping down through your head, your throat, and your heart, your belly, your groin, and into the earth. And imagine with every in-breath that more comes down with the in-breath through the body the same way and down into the earth. And once that breath is full, we're going to give it back. But this time, imagine it's coming up the spine, the same energy, all the way through your body, up and out to higher than you can imagine. In breath, golden liquid coming down through your head, down until the breath is full into the earth. And then on the way out, it's coming up the back, all the way through your body and out the top of your head. So we're going to cycle that breathing, feeling the sensations, slow, deep breath, visualizing the golden liquid coming through the body, down into the earth on the in-breath, and up and out of the body, up the spine, and out the top of the head on the out-breath. And to finish it off, we're going to do 3 of these breaths. And on the in breath, as the energy is coming down your front, I want you to think the word I. So we're breathing in the sense of I, imagining that golden energy coming down. And on the out breath, as we're feeling and seeing that energy go up, we're thinking the word am. So I, down into the earth, am, up and out into the sky. I am. And just a couple more like that. Great. And once you get to the end of this out breath that you're up to, you can relax and breathe as usual. Notice what it's like in your body after doing the practice. Open your eyes and we'll start to get into the presentation. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I'm going to tell you about. So there's some terminology that I'm going to use, which is probably familiar to some, maybe not to others. And I'm going to give you the definition that I find useful for it. And as I said earlier, if you can keep your microphone on mute and shelve any questions till the Q&A section, and just process the information within yourself, write something down if you need to. So sometimes we hear this word awaken and there's going to be lots of different social connotations to it. So you might notice those coming up. And I want you to try and imagine just relaxing all that and being open to maybe this is the first time I've heard the word. So I have here awaken means that there was already something there, but it was asleep, dreaming, and now I am waking it. So there's this sense that I have some power in this, that I'm doing something, I'm choosing, I'm consciously doing something. There's also a sense that the thing that I'm bringing into myself and my life is actually already there. It's actually naturally part of who I am. To some degree, for some of us, in some of these categories, it'll be more or less, but I'm choosing to bring more consciousness, to awaken it, become more aware of that capacity within myself. And so the examples I have here in reference to what I'll be talking about is that the sense of I am is already so. And when I'm lost in thought or lost in whatever I'm doing in my life, I still am, but I'm just not consciously aware that I'm aware that I am. And so all we're doing is we're awakening that truth. We're becoming more awake to that truth. I am. What's already so is that I am powerful. And we're going to get into your power and what that is and what I mean by that. I notice within myself and other men, when I talk about power, for some guys, it's really clear and obvious and no problem. And for others, they think, oh, there's some awkwardness or some trigger or something about being powerful that feels like a little bit of a no or a yuck. So we'll get into that, and hopefully when I redefine it, if that is there for you, we might be able to work with some of that. Conscious is already so, hopefully. If you're here now in this meeting, I'm going to guess that you're already conscious, and we want to consciously be conscious, and we want to turn up the volume of being conscious. And also masculine. I am masculine. And we all have those principles in us, the masculine and the feminine. and they are ever-changing, dynamic. So the ideas of masculine and feminine, they're a social interpretation of something that's already so. And I'll get into the definition, but basically, you already have that masculine essence inside of you to some degree. And all we're doing is becoming more aware of it and what it is, and we're turning the volume up on it. And there's a good reason for that, and we'll get into that soon. So that's why I use the word awaken. Conscious means living in presence, aware of what is. I like to use the phrase this now. And my encouragement to you is become devoted to presence. So you might straight off the bat know from me mentioning this, how often do I actually turn my attention towards being present, and how consistent do I do that, and how deeply do I do that, and how easy is it for me to become distracted from that? And all there is in your life is this now. So whatever it is that you think you're doing or you think that you want to do, it can only happen right here in this now. Everything that you think that you have or that you want to have, you can only have it, you can only know it, you can only touch it in this now. Everything that exists is in this now. And in fact, what I am is this now. If I step away from defining things with language, that's just my present experience is I am this now. In other words, one of my other favorite phrases is this is it. This is the whole thing. Oh yeah, but I'm going to do such and such and one day, and that was really bad when that happened, and I can't wait till this, but I don't want to die then. But hold on, none of that is actually in reality other than psychological reality. The only thing that you have access to is this now. So why become devoted to anything else? Because this is all you have. So masculinity. So the definition I'm giving you for this is masculinity means the unchanging presence and purposeful direction that navigates life's ever-changing currents with unwavering integrity. I don't blame you if that scares the shit out of you, or if you think that's a tall order. And I'm definitely not calling anyone to be perfect or to say that you need to be perfect. But what we're doing is we're facing in the right direction. So there is something that it's available to me that will serve me and my life and the people around me, particularly if I'm a physiological man and I feel a felt sense of being oriented towards a more masculine energy than a feminine energy. Not that I'm totally masculine, but that my greater orientation is masculinity. Then I'm going to have a massive upgrade in my life the more that I actually bring conscious awareness to embodying that masculinity more, which includes having a definition for what it is and how I can do that, and knowing when I'm not doing it and how I can shift it, which is part of what I'm up to with all of this. So we've already talked about the awaken and the conscious, which is the presence bit. And in some traditions, historically, the masculine principle is consciousness, and the feminine principle is the play of life that we are conscious of. And so the thing that I'm adding here is purposeful direction. So the masculine isn't only unwaveringly conscious beyond the experience, unaffected by the flow of life. So it doesn't mean that I'm not going to physically be affected, but my awareness is going to be oriented in my consciousness, in my presence. And I'm going to notice this changing whilst this is still always ever present, unchanging. And I'm going to know where I'm going and what I'm doing. I'm going to know what's true and what's right. And I'm going to choose that. And so the more I'm in that energy, in that habit, in that practice, the more I'm in my masculine energy, and the more I get the fruits and the power of conscious masculinity in my present moment and in my life for myself and those around me. So the model I have here is purpose, transcendence, and action. So this encompasses that all of those elements. Purpose, who am I and why am I here? I want to be present to that. I want to be putting conscious awareness on that. And I don't have to have like an answer that stays the same and I stick to it for the rest of my life. But I want to have a sense of who am I and why am I here? And the more I come back to that, the more I'm in touch with my masculine energy. Transcendence is freedom from name and form. So as we spoke about before, if I have a way to bring attention back into just my beingness beyond the changing physical and worldly affairs, then I'm going to be more in touch with my masculinity. And then action from that space. I know who I am. I know why I'm here. I feel a sense of freedom from name and form. And now I'm going to do the thing that needs to be done. And sometimes that's sitting perfectly still, but I'm doing it consciously. And sometimes it's this needs to happen. The need of the moment is this needs to happen. So something that comes up a lot with the guys that I work with is I feel emasculated, or a really good one is she emasculated me, or he emasculated me. Whatever it is, there's some sense of blame enshrined in the word emasculated. So I want to give this idea. Emasculated means I have no power. And the power of masculinity is thwarted by an unconscious conditioned addiction to approval, pleasure, and safety. So rather than that somebody else can take it away from me, or that somebody else can affect my masculinity, what I'm really waking up to is that I give away my own masculinity by giving away my own power. And the core reasons why I do that is because in some way I'm choosing habitually, unconsciously, over and above conscious masculinity, I'm choosing to try and gain approval, try to seek pleasure, and try to seek safety. So I've got here that approval means an unconscious belief that I need your love and that I'm no good. So if I need your love and I'm no good and I need approval and something happens that triggers me, then I'm going to behave in a way that's primary purpose is to try and get your love so that I can be okay. And then in hindsight, I'm going to look back and go, gosh, she emasculated me, or I felt so emasculated in that moment. But all that was happening is I made an unconscious preference for approval above living and being in my truth. The same with pleasure. So when, let's just say, there's something really important with a massive impact in your life that needs to be done, and the pressure of that feels triggering for you. So you go and sit on YouTube for 3 hours eating chocolate. So all that's happening here is that you actually do have this masculine sense of affinity with freedom, but you've unconsciously chosen pleasure thinking that that is where it comes from. And then afterwards we go, oh, I feel like my energy is collapsed. I don't feel erect anymore. I don't feel strong. I don't feel masculine. I feel emasculated because I've chosen pleasure over conscious masculine presence. And then the last one is safety. And I'm not saying don't go and be unsafe, but I'm saying when I choose safety against being fully present and doing what needs to be done for myself and my loved ones and my family, then what I'm actually doing is I'm trying to calm down a felt unconscious belief that I need to be in control and that something really, really bad is going to happen. And I use that word, something really bad is going to happen, because underneath every fear, when we don't actually know what the future is going to be, is this sense that, oh, I don't actually know what I'm scared of. And for some of you that I work with, we'll do this process where we'll go into the layers and we'll go under that and under that. And then it's just like, Well, if that final thing happened, I don't know why I'm scared of that. It just a felt sense that something really, really bad is going to happen or I'm unsafe. So by bringing more consciousness and awakening this sense of who am I, why am I here, where does my power lie, and what am I going to do about it, I can see that, and then I can make a decision. I'm not going to be unsafe unless that's what is needed. I'll take a risk where it's needed, but I'm not going to like lean in and sort of huddle up into safety out of an unconscious perception that that is somehow going to save me, because ultimately everything's unpredictable all the time anyway. So the safety thing is partially an illusion. So power. Power lives within 4 domains. I have power in consciousness of focus, being conscious of what I'm focusing on and choosing what I focus on. Thought, being conscious of what I'm thinking and choosing what I think. Being conscious of what I'm saying and choosing what I'm saying. Being conscious of what I'm doing and choosing what I'm doing. So my power isn't in how much money I have, how much knowledge I have, how many people are serving me, how nice my car is, what position in politics I have. It only ever comes down to these 4 domains: my focus, my thought, my word, and my action. And when I'm in those previous 3 things, addiction to approval, pleasure, and safety, I'm like asleep to the fact that it's actually, I have access to my power. I'm just not looking at, oh, I can bring awareness to and choose what I'm focusing on, what I'm thinking, what I'm saying, and what I'm doing. This applies to what I'm calling the 5 worldly summits of masculinity. So these are the top 5 things that when I'm working with men, they tend to be wanting support with, having trouble with. These are things that I do and have had trouble with. So this is staying on top of my health. This is creating wealth. This is my relationship with my lover, wife, partner, my sex life. This is leading, whether it be leading in my workplace, my community, my family of origin, with my children, and serving. What role am I playing in community, my career, my business? So everything that we've gone through so far is directly affecting how I show up and the results I get in health, wealth, love, leading, and serving. And I'm sure you might know straight off the bat what I'm talking about and how they could relate. And in other talks and other ways, I'll go more deeply into each one of those things. So in summary, what we're talking about is awakening the power of conscious masculinity. It's my job to consciously remember who I am, why I'm here, where my power lies and where it doesn't, and what I can do about it.